Welcome to Women Without Limits. How many times have you thought of doing something, starting something, but not actually get going with it? I've tried researching how many women are preventing themselves from reaching their goals, but there isn't actually any stat on this. And I think that's the point. There's no one measuring when women aren't taking that next leap because they're not in the room to actually show up and do it. So what I'd love to talk about today is something that every woman listening to knows the feeling of, the idea of putting themselves second or getting an idea shelved, wanting to do something which makes you feel great, finding your purpose and actually pursuing the life of your dreams. And for this episode, we have MARCHON coaches, Annabelle and Freya, who are in two completely different chapters of the same story. So Annabelle has already done the work of rebuilding her identity as a coach after elite sport, competitive sport. And Freya is at the beginning of building her journey to push herself to minus 30 degrees Celsius in Swedish Lapland. This chat is going to be a good one. They are Women Without Limits, and this is who you are when no one is watching, what you leave behind, and what you become. Hello, ladies.
Hello. So excited.
The women in the room. How are we today?
We're good.
Good.
Yeah, I think so.
Good. How are you?
I'm actually wonderful. Thank you for asking.
She's vibrant, she's glowing, she's touched up, ready to go.
She's touched up. Whoa. Okay, so two of our youngest members of the MARCHON coaching family. I'm eager to explore your coaching perspectives, but mainly who you are. So when no one is watching you, the life away from your clients, the colleagues of social media. I know the boss man's in the room, but he needs to hear it from you first. So Annabelle, you grew up in a competitive equestrian sport. Then when you became a young woman, you decided to rebuild your career to what it is right now. And I believe your coaching philosophy was born out of that shift. So what did you have to stop believing about yourself before you could become who you are now?
Yeah, I think when you come from like any competitive background, there becomes like a lot of discipline that comes alongside that. So when I was like coaching, like in the early years, that felt very easy for me because of what I had to show up for. Like competitively, like a lot when I was younger, it took a lot of a trade-off in terms of the time spent, the energy spent. So how I now have to show up for my time coaching is very similar. So I think that always came really naturally to me. But I think in terms of how it's made me now as a coach, like a lot of the time when you've had to go through struggles and just realize that the next steps are always there, you just have to keep putting one foot in the front of the other. I think it's the same with how I coach now, like even from like members' journeys to how I train myself. It's like, okay, this is a start point. That's the goal, but just understanding like progress is never going to look linear. It's kind of just about keep moving forward within that. Yeah.
Do you remember a change of when you were a teenager to becoming an adult and what you potentially built internally for yourself to help with that?
A lot of resilience, I think, was built along the way. I think the transition from like teen into adulthood, particularly in the fitness space as a woman, I think you go from being like quite naive and not really understanding like societal pressures like aren't necessarily your values to then, I guess, becoming an adult, you then realize actually like my values are this and this is what matters the most. So I think my biggest transition was like when I was younger, I used to think that a certain perspective was my own because of what I saw and potentially like role models that weren't necessarily people that I necessarily looked up to, but just like in your face. I think social media, I don't know how you felt, but like our age range probably the first era where social media was like relatively big in our teens. So all of a sudden you have like people in front of you. But I guess as I transitioned into adulthood, it was very much like, I actually don't care about that. And I think how that then translates into how I am now as an adult, particularly in my coaching, it's like, this is who I am, this is what I align with. And then just having that difference compared to when I was a teen is really big now.
Annabelle, you're a badass. That's stunningly explored and expressed about yourself, so thank you for sharing that. Freya, you have shared publicly about formerly training to be the smallest version of yourself versus now where you do it to be strong physically and mentally. Can you please touch upon that point, what you had to stop believing about yourself in order to become who you are now?
Yeah, I think it links quite well into like Belle's point of social media. Like growing up, it was always people wanting to be the smallest version of themselves, being really skinny. And like, I think it was just a mindset shift of what I'm training for and why I'm doing it. Like, I want to be the strongest person for myself now, but also myself in 50 years. Like, I want to be able to do everything that I've set out to do. And I think, especially in the role that we're in, there is so many opportunities that you can choose to have a bit of a goal to like train for as well. So I'm not just training aimlessly. There is like something that I'm striving to achieve.
Would you like to tell us about what you are currently striving to achieve?
Striving high.
Ollie hasn't even
So
heard this
high.
one yet. This is so exciting.
So good.
I'm doing an ultramarathon in Sweden in January. So it's going to be like across frozen lakes through forests. So it's going to be very, very cold. So there's lots of factors that
So cool.
I've never even thought about, that I'm going to have to think, like, I can't even use gels because they're just going to freeze. So there's so many aspects of it. But the reason I'm doing it is a friend has a charity for cancer and we're raising money for that. So there's a big group of me and my friends going to do it. So there is that social side of things as well, which is really important to me. But it's something that is massively out of my comfort zone. And I would have never have thought to do it. The opportunity came up and I just absolutely jumped to do it.
That's actually
So sick. So cool.
I mean, you could have done it on ground, but no ice.
Yeah. And I haven't even done a marathon yet. So, you know, it's a big jump.
If you're going to do it, don't do it by halves, eh?
Yeah, but like, there's something in you that knew that you could do it. Like, you can apply to it. Like,
Yeah.
I addressed the audience of this episode based on a lot of women aren't going out there and chasing what they want to do. And
Yeah.
there's you off to Lapland. So tell us how you knew that you could apply.
I mean, I think there's always a doubt in the back of your mind, but I kind of just put that in a box and try and ignore it. I think I'm in the best scenario to train to be in the best position. So I've got all the resources that I need. It is just going to be, firstly, holding myself accountable to it, but just believing in myself as well. Like, if I put the work in, I know I'll be able to do it. If I have my fueling right, I've put the hours in. And I think it's, confidence-wise, it's definitely going to be a push because I'm going to be out there on my own, because there's a big group, but I'm not going to stick with people. I want to push myself. So it will get hard. There's going to be hours that are tough, but I think it's just building that resilience. And I mean, it's just confidence for me. I think definitely it will be a big push.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Should we all just go? I'd love
I was going to say, I
cheerleader.
don't think I can quite top that one.
I'm not going to ask you what are you up to, but what I would love to know is working and representing for, you know, the most dominating #1 brand in the fitness and sport health space, Maloney MARCHON. Do you feel any degree of pressure to perform outside of your actual coaching remit and represent the brand 24/7?
Yeah, you know what? This is one that I've actually come to like bat heads with a little bit, because I would class myself as like a fairly regular person, normal person. Like, I've come from sport and I've always been very disciplined, but in terms of like athletic goals, I've always had like a bit of a pursuit. Like, I've done comps here and there, but it's like I'm not a full-time athlete, I'm a coach. So I think there is always that like part of you that potentially feels like you should be doing more, but then it's actually like the amount of women I speak to day to day, and it's like, Belle, you are relatable, because like I'm literally just a girl. Do you know what I mean? Like, I am just a girl in my 20s, like trying to build my life personally as well as in the gym. So I think I do feel like a little bit of pressure, but I think one thing that I've got quite good at over the recent years is like knowing myself well enough to be like, it's actually fine that I'm X and they're Y. I think as well, like I don't know if body image like came up a little bit when we've had a talk before, but it's another thing. Like, I'm athletic, bodies types are so different. So I think just not comparing yourself. And I think a conversation we actually all had the other day was like, the comparison part of anybody's journey can be quite derailing. So I think just making sure that you know yourself well enough that in any industry that you just back yourself. And I think I'm quite good at that now. But there have definitely been times in the past where it's been like, I'm this and maybe I don't show up as that, but actually my superpower is being myself, and being authentically that is more than enough. So I think I've come to heads with that, but there has definitely been times in the past where it's felt maybe more pressure than it actually is in reality.
Bosh.
Yeah.
And with social media, I'm just wanting to get my head around what it's like to be you both as coaches. You have a responsibility on the gym floor, but do you also feel that pressure on your social media?
You know what? I think there's a line, and I think it comes down to like how you want to show up. I would like to think like I always say to like my friends and everything, like I'm an in-person person, so I actually do struggle to show up on social media sometimes in like some aspects, because I'm quite a real person in terms of like everyone goes through ups and downs. So like if I'm having a bit of like a day where I need to go for a little hot girl mental health walk, like we're all
Hot girl mental health walk.
absolutely.
Yeah.
What's that?
Just take yourself out, touch grass for 5 minutes.
Hot girl mental health walk.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Me and my
How old
sister's
are you?
25.
Oh my God, I didn't know like a decade would mean that I didn't know
That's
about
so
these
funny.
hot girl going for a walk
Yeah,
chats.
it's like get
it's
some
very
fresh air.
important.
Yeah. And now I can't remember the question.
Sorry to interrupt. You were
Sorry.
talking so beautifully about the coaching and the social media. And
Oh yeah, not being able to show up properly. Yeah, I think how I am professionally and then how I am personally, like I think with any profession, like you do have to show up as X. And I think obviously in our coaching roles, I don't know how you feel about it, but it's like you have to constantly be on. So like giving my best energy to like everyone else constantly, and like our hours, like in Harpenden, for example, like we'll do 5 hours in the morning and like doing 5 hours back to back of like speaking to people, engaging, like being the center of attention, like it is demanding. And I feel like I'm somebody that like when I'm in something, I'm very there. So it does take a lot of my energy. So I do think in terms of in person, then to give that same energy to like every other aspect of my life, I do have to be a bit mindful of. So potentially with the social media versus in person, like maybe there is like a little bit of difference, but yeah, I don't know if that quite answers
no, it
the
does.
question.
And I'm really glad that you just said that being a centre of attention can actually be super draining and take your energy.
It's exhausting, yeah.
People think you love it. Like I was like, oh, Lucy loves it. And I'm like, no, this is really tiring because everyone is watching everything I do.
Yeah.
And you must feel that too on the gym floor.
Yeah, definitely. Like you have to bring the energy. A lot of people in the gym know how to do things and they come for the community, they come for the vibe, and you've got to be able to hold the room's attention, which like Belle said, it can be draining at times, like early mornings, late nights. It definitely takes its toll. But I think in terms of like social media thing, it's, as we said, it is hard to build on social media and it does also take time and energy. But I think it's just about creating a bit of boundary with it, like limiting how much you're putting out there or how much you're taking in. And just, we know like that what we post and what the brand posts is factual and educational, and that some people that are posting aren't maybe going down that same route, and it's just trying to limit what you're taking in and like what is taking your energy, I think.
Yeah.
What are some of the most proud moments that you've had being on the gym floor with MARCHON as coaches?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
That
You know
is.
what? Like, I think it's actually often the smaller things. Like, obviously, I'm like 5 years into my coaching journey now. Obviously, been with MARCHON for over a year now. But I think for me, it's when you have members that are really committed to what they're doing, and you're like the stepping stone in helping them get there. Like, obviously, everyone comes in for different reasons, but I think my favorite success in the gym, especially for women, like so many women come to me and it's like, I've got my wedding in X amount of weeks, I want to look like this. But then actually, like, as they start to train with me, and like, I guess like language is really important as well, of like how you show up with people. But the amount of clients I've had come to me where their narrative has just shifted from like, I want to look like X, and now I actually care about doing that pull up, or I actually want to do that. And it's like, for me, in the society we live in now, like that is a really big win, because I think aesthetics have always taken over like actual health and actual, I don't know, like how you feel. Like people often like shut that down for a particular goal, and I get it. Like most people start in the gym for aesthetic reasons, like we've all been there. But I think there does become a line where it's like, actually there's so much more to training and what success looks like. And I think changing somebody's journey from kind of like a small, like I guess it is quite like a small-minded place to be, like when you're just focused on one thing, and being able to be like, actually this brings me X, Y, and Z as well. That's not a particular moment, but that's been probably like the most transformational thing when it comes to female clients, I think, for me,
Love that.
as a success.
Yeah.
76% of UK gym members cite mental well-being as a primary motivator for their training. And when
Yeah.
you're actually in the gym, or when you sign up to a gym, you don't necessarily think, oh, majority of this is going to be for here. You're
Yeah.
so aware of the body.
Yeah, I mean,
How do you respond to that one, Freya, with your favourite gym moments as a coach?
There's so many. There is so many. I think this week has been quite a big week because we've been in testing week, and it's similar to like linking it back to what Belle said, it is just that mindset shift. Like watching especially female members cheer each other on, like doing a bench press yesterday, for example, like being ready to spot somebody. They've never met that person before. They would probably have never met them if they hadn't been in the gym. And it's just seeing that friendship form and like physically they're supporting that person, like cheering them on. It's just, I don't think there's anything more as powerful as that.
That's my favourite thing in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
I also don't know how
So
it slipped my
good.
mind, but the women's days we've been running have been so sick. Like, obviously, the narrative is all very similar, but when we host events where there's like female energy in a room, like it just is so different. Like, I always joke because, I mean, Ollie obviously knows it because he's in Harpenden, but I work in quite a male-dominated team, and I love the guys, but it's like when females are in a room together, like it is just so different. So having that energy, like that feels like a massive like success. And I think even thinking back when I started training like 8 years ago, like the space is still male dominated, and it's fine because we've got strong ladies that are in the industry that can like help bridge that gap, but it is still a space where some women do feel intimidated. So to be like, actually, like this is your space and this is how it should feel and how it can feel is like another really powerful thing, and that's been really special like, to be part of in like a bigger capacity with MARCHON.
And you feel like you grow in those moments because obviously there are women that aren't from the gym community that get to come.
Yeah.
So you're getting this like introduction to new insight from women, which is
New
super
faces
exciting.
and like everyone's on like really different levels. Like obviously the different types of people we get, and also some people are very early in their training journey. Other people have come to many events before. So it's like you got people that are returning because they love kind of how it feels and the ethos of it, and then you got people that are like, oh, this is kind of like where I think I should be, and like having all of that diversity in a room is also really cool.
That is really awesome.
Yeah.
And the coaching side of things goes far beyond obviously like the physical. Like they speak to you, right? Sometimes you
Speak
become
to us.
like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
therapist.
They do speak to us. Yeah. Can't put them on mute. No. So again, like, and I think, I mean, like I say, coaching, I don't know how you found it, but coaching is just a really small part of the puzzle. Like a lot of what we do is about how humans interact and how you can show up, and how somebody can turn up one day feeling like X and show up like a completely different person the next day, and just being able to navigate in those situations, like what's best for them. Like a program or a structure is really irrelevant to who's in front of you if it's not relevant to them on that day. So I think it's just understanding like behaviors, and like also just being able to see as soon as like somebody walks in how they are. Like somebody's demeanor is telling straight away. So having the ability to like know that based on how you work with people is quite important.
Yeah.
Thinking about my demeanor right now.
Yeah, your demeanor.
My demeanor.
She feeling demure.
Demure.
Demure, come on.
When you necessarily like might not feel yourself sometimes, but obviously have to show up at the gym, and then obviously helping others. Talk to us a bit more about that in your day to day.
Yeah, it can be hard. I think just knowing the impact that you're going to have on somebody else, though, like if I'm tired, that'll wake me up instantly. Like getting to the gym, having my normal routine. I'm somebody that really, really strives from having a routine. I have my certain things that I'll do in the day, have my breakfast, coffee, get to the gym and set up, put a banging playlist on, set the vibes, and then I'll know that my morning's going to be good.
I can't wait to come to one of your sessions.
No pressure.
Very good. So you're both ambitious women, and I would love for you to be totally unscripted now. So who are you when no one is actually watching? So to this point, it's like, okay, we're all in this room. Are we really kind of like letting people into who we are? But in order to just be yourselves, instead of thinking about you're having to be the coach in the room right now. So to pursue your careers, fitness and sport accolades, especially during times when it could have felt lonely for you, or like no one else can understand you, which I think most people who are watching will relate to.
Do you want to go first, that one?
I'd say determined, but also the need to have boundaries, because it's so easy to have a goal to choose. And for example, I'm going to be missing out on doing ethics, which is something that would be really important to me normally. But because I'm doing this other challenge, I know I need to set myself some boundaries, or I would probably take on too much and potentially not perform to the point that I would want to.
We'll let you off.
Thank you. But like that is a sacrifice that I've chosen to make, but I know it's not always going to be like the point. I'm going to be able to do athletics down the line. I'm going to be able to do turf games. But right now, this is the stage that I'm in my life, that I've chosen to do this, and I'm going to put my all into it. So I think it's determination, but also just making sure that I am looking after myself at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously you can't capture everything, therefore share everything with your audience or your
Yeah.
friends and family.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think about my life when it's offline, and I just find it really interesting, like what
Yeah.
we do just for ourselves.
Yeah.
Can you think of moments like that where actually you've empowered yourself because you just did something just for you and not for the sight of others?
I think it's just in like my training, like week to week. Like I'll speak to my mum and I'll be like, oh, I'm going for a run on like a Sunday morning. She's like, oh, have a day off. And I'm like, well, I could, but I know I need to do it and it's going to get me to the point where I want to be. So it might not be important to somebody else, but just knowing that deep down it's important to me and that's going to get me to where I need to be or want to be, then that's all that matters.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think with that as well, it's funny because you say like your mum's saying like have a day off. I think that's like it. I don't know, it triggers something in me because it's like there are always going to be people that say like, oh, you don't need to do that or you shouldn't do that. But it's like there's always going to become a trade-off with any goal or success you have. So it's like make sure you know your priorities. But I think when it comes to like who I am, like outside of coaching, like I am a very ambitious person, but I'm also like quite an overwhelmed person, like in terms of I've got so many spinning plates in terms of like how my brain works and like everything just going at 100 miles an hour all the time, which is a superpower in lots of ways, but also sometimes it's like just slow down a little bit, like you're actually fine. Like, so I think for me, a bit similar to like setting boundaries, it's just like aligning to like what actually matters to you. And I think sometimes just like having the space and capacity to do that, like do have to take a bit of a step back to know where that stands. And I think with overwhelm, like everyone experiences it in different manners and like different doses at different times. But I think in terms of how that relates to where I want to be, it's just really making sure that my goals remain for me and not listening to like outside noise of the people being like, do you really need to do it like that? It's like, well, it's actually none of your business. Like it's how I want to do it. And like, yeah.
Perfect segue to my next
Love
question.
that.
Because
Set you up nicely.
I'm curious about the pursuit of our goals and the cost it really takes or the investment it sort of takes from us as individuals. So I recently landed one of my biggest jobs this year. It's an entire series working with the Whoop UCI Mountain Bike World Series. I get to travel around the world, do what I love, but with that there's also a huge cost.
Yeah.
So I made a decision. We're all human. I made a decision.
I blend my words all the time. It's fine. I'll just put two together at once. All the time.
Last year to leave London and I moved in with my parents in Devon because my time was suddenly going to become so restricted by travel, but I love spending time with them.
Yeah.
So I live back there with my parents so I can invest that time back in with them.
Yeah.
But then I've also had to cancel weddings, upset friends.
Yeah.
But it's all in the pursuit of my goals. And it's really easy to sort of think, oh, that's selfish, Lucy. But I think that needs to be rebranded. I don't really like the word selfish because at the end of the day, when you finally get to a point where you know what you want and you're doing the actions to pursue that further, I think it's really important that that is talked about and celebrated essentially. So what are the cost of that you've spent? What have you spent? Not financially, but socially, personally, professionally. In order to pursue who you are.
I think the biggest and first one coming from sport and then straight into coaching, it's like physical demand and energy is like a huge one. Like when you're pursuing something to a relatively high level, it takes a lot from your energy, which then means looking after yourself becomes like a really big priority. Because if you're expending all this energy, but then you're not sleeping well, and then your training's not well, like then you don't feel good. But then it's like, okay, well, the connections I have mean and matter a lot to me as well. So it's like trying to find the right energy to put in enough professionally, but then also be like, actually, my lifestyle, my friends, my family are also equally as important. And I guess being an ambitious person, like sometimes it does feel like quite a contradiction, because I'm somebody else like with MARCHON, like I live 2 hours away from like all my close friends, families, like making that decision to be like, this is where I need to be to pursue what I want. But actually that has put up a really big barrier to actually potentially like the connection side of things. And it's like there does become a time where it's like, okay, what truly matters to me? And I think you can get like little fulfillment buckets in different areas. Like I'm very fulfilled in what I'm doing career wise, but it's like I actually know that in certain areas I need to like give and take some things at different times to make sure my other bucket's being filled. So I think like emotional capacity for like all of those things at once can be quite a big trade-off. But equally I know that it's only like everything's temporary and you have the autonomy to like make decisions of what you want to do, and that's a really nice feeling. And I think everyone around me like supports what I do, which is a nice place to be as well. But I think time, energy, I think you can probably relate.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like she's just read my mind.
We're just all like Bluetooth stuff at this point. Put women in a room and...
I'd say for me, socially is the biggest cost. Like most of my friends aren't in the fitness scene, so it can be hard that they don't quite get it, that I'm not going to go out on a Friday night because I've got a training session early Saturday morning, or same thing on a Saturday night, I'm not going to go out. Or I'm exactly the same with Belle. I live 2 hours from my family, and
We're
I would
actually
say
from a very similar area.
yeah,
It's so
such a
random.
small world. She used to work with my sister. So such a small world. I would say like my health and my family come first. Obviously work is integrated within that, and I think like friendships and social side of it can be put on the back burner, which isn't how I would like it to be. But I know that, like Belle said, it's not always going to be like that. This is just the phase that I'm in my life. I'm like you, I'm really driving for my career. There's certain things that I want to be achieving, and dating and friendships aren't that important at the moment, but I know it will come. So it's just like dipping in and out of where I want to be and how I deal with it, I guess.
I love that. It sounds like you're investing into yourselves
Yeah.
beautifully, and I'm very proud of you for that. It sounds absolutely fantastic. Yeah, you have different values, different
Yeah.
like qualities and visions of what you want for your life in comparison to your friends, but there's nothing wrong with that.
I think as well, like, it changes, and I think that's quite important to note, because like what matters to me, like even a year and a half ago, is quite different from now. Like my circumstances are so different, and I think everyone's lives like change a lot very quickly, whether that's personal experience, like there's been a few things happen like in my personal life over the last few years which have meant like the trajectory trying to say too much of a big word, trajectory. I can't even say it. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Anyways, you know what I mean. Where I'm going, I think because of those things, like your perspective does shift sometimes. So what might not have mattered to me so much last year because of certain events actually do matter to me much more now, and that is fine. But it's then just like you need to find out like where you can shift things, like what that looks like in your life capacity, emotional space. So yeah, there's always going to be a trade-off, but it's like where you put those buckets and when it's important. And I think as well, like as a woman, it's like recognizing before it's too late. I don't know how you've been, but I've been quite close to burnout a few times, like self-employed, and then like even like recent times, like emotionally, with like traumatic things that have happened. So it's like just making sure you can catch yourself before they do happen, just like protecting your peace a little bit with that.
Can really resonate with what you just said there.
Yeah.
Am I fading behind my eyes right now? Yeah, now it comes to approach.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what, and as well, like everyone obviously like processes things really differently, but and I don't want to just like throw it out there, but like I think being like on the slightly more like divergent spectrum as well, it's like the capacity for those things can be harder. So,
especially when you have to give so much energy to everybody else.
And like I say,
What are you?
I haven't been diagnosed just yet, but I think I am going to get a diagnosis. But I am very, very much like ADHD tendencies, and I think my mum and sister both have it, and I'm literally like replicate certain things. But it's actually really interesting because a lot of the things that have shown up now I'm employed in terms of like structure, routine. I think I'm very motivation and passion driven, which is one of my superpowers, but it's also like, it's to be transparent, it's like if I'm not interested in something, I'm not interested in terms of like how my brain works. Like if I'm passionate, I am dead on it. If I don't care, I don't care.
It's like, are you talking?
It's like, and it's like it's one of those things I've had to like recognize a little bit more as I've obviously gone into different workspaces. Obviously there's different requirements of different things. It's like, hey, like being a professional in like certain ways, like just making sure that I'm able to channel like where I'm good, but also sharpen the other areas that maybe I am less good at, but still capable of, obviously. But just, yeah, it's just interesting how it shows up. But in terms of burnout, the way that you are in terms of how much emotional space and energy being present and being, I don't know, like forefront of everything takes, then does have a cost. So just trying to learn yourself. And hormonally as well scrambles you.
Yeah, because you specialise in this area, don't you?
Yeah, it's a big passion of mine in terms of how I talk about it and how I show up. I lost my cycle at 18, which was through doing too much. Well, I didn't know at the time. I actually thought it was a great thing at the time because I was I was smaller. I was like doing really well at my sport. My skin was great. Like, ironically, I felt good. But 6 months down the line, I was like, this is not good. And then obviously as I became more educated and got into my profession, I was like, this is really not healthy. So once I started to acknowledge that actually I care much more about how I'm functioning internally, even to the point of like, I don't know how you feel. Like, I think in your mid-20s, like, do you feel the pressure of like, I know at some point I want a family. Like, obviously that's not on the cards right this very second, but it's something that I know as a woman, you need to be mindful of all these like spinning things. And it might not seem like a big thing to other people, but as a woman in your 20s, like, they're always in the back of your head, and like your health is a massive part of that. So when I've had like little flare-ups of things, like at times I'm like, oh my God, I need to like pull myself back because that is important to me. But then it's like that fine line between being like, are you being like people will be like, oh, you're being a bit sensitive over that. It's like, I'm not, because I can recognize that it's actually impacting my nervous system. And I know that like some people like think that sounds really like woo woo, but it's like, I can feel when I'm not regulated well. And like I'm constantly like on edge and stuff. So I think it's just the whole passion for that has stemmed from my own experience. But then also like it's still so under researched. And I think having enough role models in the space which care about your actual health over aesthetics is unfortunately still quite small. So I think it is an area that I will continue to like push the way in where I can.
Because you're both those role models.
Yeah.
How sick is that?
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, no,
pretty
it's good.
cool.
And like I say, relating back to what I said earlier, with like women in the gym, like it's really nice when they come to me. It's like, oh yeah, Belle, like what you said about that at the start, like you were right about that because now I feel like X. And I was like, it takes them their experience to work it out themselves.
Yeah.
But it is a really nice feeling when people start to, I don't know, maybe just respect themselves a bit more.
Yeah. And it takes the experience and education, doesn't it? So we
and your own lessons and failings to recognise.
So true.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Best campaign. We have a great episode with MARCHON and Kerry Williams about pregnancy, because I wanted to understand about motherhood and how it shifts you. But even that aside, as women, like if we don't have children and we're getting older, we are constantly shifting and changing.
Yeah.
And then adapting to that day by day. Like there's one method that suited you once upon a time and suddenly it doesn't. And you're like, but why? Why is my body fluctuating? So we definitely need to have a hormone-focused discussion.
Yeah.
100%.
To expand on that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's a massive topic. But I mean, obviously, I've been trying to teach the boys as I've worked for them. Even just like I don't know how you find it in like certain stages of your cycle and stuff, but like genuinely, like it is actually wild how sometimes one day you're literally on top of the world and the next day you feel like literally like Hagrid and like being pulled out of a drain or something. Like, for God's sake. And it's like, even though you know it's going to happen every month, it still takes you by surprise, right? It's like, for God's sake, not another time.
And then sometimes you don't. So I didn't have my periods, and then my coil went missing. But I only found out because my periods came back.
Fine.
So then I went to get checked, and the nurse was like, I literally can't find it.
Oh God, you've terrified me now. Mine's going to go walkabout.
It's just like somewhere else.
It's somewhere else.
It's in your knee.
They want to do it. Imagine it's just poking out my eye. They're going to do an ultrasound. But it's made me really aware of that part of my body, and I don't feel 100%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that could be paranoia, or it could be actually my body's telling me something.
Yeah.
Mixed with the fact that I started the year wanting babies. So I don't know whether my body's just like, get rid of the coil and let's start baby making.
But hormonally, like I don't know how you find it, and maybe my body is more sensitive than others, but like I can recognize that's one of my first signs to like burnout. Like if my cycle starts becoming irregular, like I know I'm overly stressed. I know that I'm doing too much. And it's like, they're just like personal lines like I'm no longer willing to accept. And like, if that means more boundaries, like that is fine. Because at the end of the day, it's my health and what matters to me.
Bosh.
Yeah.
I had someone in the gym yesterday go, oh, I'm not strong today. I'm not in the right phase of my cycle. She's like, that's what my excuse is for being weak. And I was like, it's not an excuse. It can be a reason. Definitely. It can definitely affect how you feel.
So it doesn't. Once come, honestly. It's like, thank God for that.
It's like, that doesn't mean that you're weak. You're just not feeling the strongest, but it's not an excuse. It's a reason. Like, it's not a bad thing. Yeah. It means that you've got a natural cycle and that's how it should be. So that means that you're healthy and we can work with that. But don't put that on yourself and don't put yourself down.
Yeah, that language is so important for women in fitness as well. Like how people talk about other people's bodies, how they speak to people on social media, like even language within gym spaces. Like if I catch a woman like saying something remotely, I don't know, just like not kind to themselves, I'm just like, should we just like rephrase that a little bit? Like it's just like if you're expecting other people to talk to you in a certain way and not judge you, like, why are you doing that to yourself? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But I think it's on us as women to firstly be responsible for whatever comes out of our own mouths firstly, but it's also like then how you show up for your friends, like who you surround yourself with. I don't know how you've experienced like role models in the industry, but really truly just like only taking in information for people that you actually value their opinion of.
Yeah. And I think we are all sounding like we really know what we're talking about. But I know for a fact that 3 of us at times in our past have been secretly the woman that doesn't actually know what she's doing, or is questioning herself.
Winging it all the time.
All
the time. Always.
A chief blagger. So if you could put one thing into the hands of every woman who is training but secretly not sure she's doing it right, not sure she's enough, and not sure she's worth it, what would that thing be?
We're about to go. Mine actually, the first thing that comes to my mind is the role models things, whether it's your mentors, whether it's your coaches, whether it's your mum, like whoever that is, those people really close to you, like they are the people that shine the mirror up to you with the things you actually need, not the people externally. So I think for people that don't know where they should be going, what they should be doing, it's like firstly, like stay in your own lane, like your journey is about you and what matters to you, but then also block out external noise, focusing on the things that, I don't know, you've put your energy into, but have enough people around you that will be transparent with you. Because I think the worst thing you can do is be so internal that you're not actually seeing the bigger picture. So, I mean, my mum's been the best person for it. Like when I was writing and stuff, like she was so brutally honest all the time, which I can receive well now. But at times it's like, oh God, that's a dagger to my heart. But it's like having people to actually like flip the mirror and be like, this is how it actually is. And like having that perspective, but from people that actually matter to you. Like I would really recommend people starting anything like has a support system, but like an honest one.
Yeah. I'd say confidence, but not just in yourself. I'd say have the confidence to make mistakes. And that's something that I'm still working and struggling with. Like, it's okay to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, but you're going to learn from that mistake and it's going to narrow your path and your next choice of what you're going to go for. Like if we've found something that doesn't work, that's not fail. Yeah, it might have been a mistake, but it's still a step forwards because you've then just narrowed that path down a little bit. So I'd say confidence, but not just in yourself, with the decisions that you make and the mistakes that you make.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Be bold.
Be bold.
Be bold.
Yeah.
Be bold, be brave. Thank you both so much.
Thank you. That was fun.
Thank you.
Love that.
So, Belle, 5 years of coaching.
Yeah.
Freya, now coaching and about to go to Lapland for an ultra marathon in minus 30 degrees Celsius. Somewhere between those things, we all have listeners that will be able to relate to you.
Somewhere. I can't relate to that one. I'll try.
They'll be able to find answers for what they might be looking for in
Hope
their
so.
lives. And if not, they should absolutely get in contact with us or you. So thank you so much, women.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Incredibly inspiring episode. Two young coaches, in the grand scheme of things. What was interesting was obviously hearing Freya's goal of Lapland. Hearing it obviously makes me feel like she's found her tribe, right? This is exactly what Without Limits. It doesn't need to be a physical pursuit of that grand level, but just pushing yourself out your comfort zone, doing things that are so juxtaposed with anything you've ever done before, I think is brilliant. Having that North Star, that goal, whether it's a start line, a competition, or whether it's whatever it may be, I think it pulls you towards it and it gives you that accountability to train. So that was amazing to hear. I also think it's very relevant and prudent to say that, these girls or young coaches are under a lot of pressure, in your 20s. I didn't start MARCHON until 27, 28 years old. They're not, they're still 2, 3, 4 years away from that yet. So there's a lot of pressure on young coaches to have all the information, to say all the right things, whether it's strength training, whether it's understanding female physiology, talking about the cycle. It's a lot, and I do understand the pressure. I think they talked very eloquently to like setting boundaries. I like to use the term priorities. I think being able to prioritize what's important at certain seasons of your life, I think is really critical. And I do think that unfortunately now, with the level of competition that we find in the workplace and for careers and for vying for attention and to breaking through, particularly in your 20s, it's tough. But I think they're doing a fantastic example of, showing up, driving their careers forward, and then also making sure they've got time for the things outside of that. I love the little hot girl walk thing. I've not heard that before. I need a hot boy walk at times, I think. But no, again, really inspiring. Both slightly more towards the start of their journeys in the coaching world, but sitting on panels, hosting events, bringing women into our community, and doing a fantastic job.
How do you consciously or subconsciously think that you're going to take what they've shared into your day-to-day now running the MARCHON empire?
I think being sort of super critical and transparent, like being a coach in this day and age does take both the in-person, particularly in the MARCHON business, right? We still believe in in-person coaching, giving you that upper hand for how you can then show up in the digital world, right? You get first world experience on the gym floor for 5 hours, where women or men of different ages and experiences are telling you the problems that they're facing, and you're overcoming them in real time on the floor. Being able to take some of that and then just repurpose it in the digital world, in the world of content and trying to grab attention, you'll be able to build a bigger audience. You'll be able to speak to then people at mass, on volume, at scale, because you've taken that one thing from the gym floor. So I think it's about being smart and efficient with showing up in the digital world and taking what you're learning in the physical world from it. And like I said, just prioritizing seasons of your life where you can double down on both, because I do think in the coaching space in this day and age, and it's not just exclusive to MARCHON, it is super competitive and really tough. But then at the same time, I think, one thing that we have the benefit of employing all of our team and making sure that we do try and set them up for success with taking your holidays when you need to. We talk about being able to take a break and take off the gas and mental, restitution and restoration, all that kind of stuff. Book the holiday once every 3 months if that's what you think you need, or save it for, a longer extended period of time. I think just, unfortunately, in your 20s, you're still trying to figure it out, and that's also okay.
Yeah. I'm in like my early 30s now, and I'm thinking I'm actually mid-30s. Oh, Ollie. It's crazy,
I'm late
isn't it?
30s. I just think there's so much pressure for people to have it all figured out, and I don't. I'm not sat here as the the CEO of the business going, you need to have it all figured out. I expect you to get it right at all moments.
Yeah.
Figure it out. I was still trying to chase a rugby ball around the field and chase that dream at that age. So
Yeah.
I don't think you can get it wrong so long as you're willing to show up and work hard. There's a common theme for all of the women that sat here, right? And Lauren and Kerry spoke about it. Lauren and Gabby spoke about it. Hard work, determination, consistency, showing up, following your passion. It's all super important. And when that passion and vision can stay aligned, I think the burnout thing becomes something that you're able to overcome, because it doesn't manifest like burnout anymore. It's just fucking hard work, but it's enjoyable. And without getting too philosophical, like life is just like that messy middle, right? Lauren spoke about the highs and the lows. It's the messy middle, learning to enjoy it as best as you can and making sure that purpose and vision and passion are all intertwined, trying to have fun with that.
Thank you so much, Ollie MARCHON.
Thank you very much, Lucy Mills. Lucy fucking Mills, by the way.
Thank you.